Today's podcast is sponsored by lighthousepowerbusiness.com.
June 9th, Geoffrey Studdert Kennedy.
God can turn every act of service you do into a kingdom win. When World War I broke out, Geoffrey Studdert Kennedy served as vicar of St. Paul's Church in a poor parish in Worcester. He called for a replacement and volunteered to serve as an army chaplain. But while he waited for approval, the army asked him to pastor a nearby training barracks that would train 10,000 soldiers during the war. And Geoffrey preached to them in the open air. These thousands, these were men who'd only attended because they'd been ordered to. These were men who knew they may be going to their deaths. These were men Geoffrey led to the Savior, and he gave them Woodbine cigarettes. On December 21st, 1915, Geoffrey got assigned to an army unit. Within 4 days, he was conducting a Christmas Day service in a village square in France. The rain poured down on 400 soldiers. Early on, he worked in a large shed beside a railway, which was turned into a canteen. Soldiers came through in batches on their way to the front, and they waited in the canteen for their trains, about a 24-hour wait. He preached to them and wrote a home for them and climbed onto a wooden box and sang to them, "Mother Machree and the sunshine of your smile." He helped them pray for those they were leaving behind, and he handed out Woodbine cigarettes to them. He also pastored soldiers housed in town, and he was enraged they had to deal with alcohol and sex. He said, "Lord, how angry it makes me, this attack on men in the rear. Better the guns of the Germans than the temptations of the devil." Soon, Geoffrey's whole parish was sent into battle, and he knew he had to go with them. But his irreverent joking and open smiling and cigarette passing didn't mean he was immune to the terror. He said, "Fear came. There was a pain underneath my belt. Of course, I had to go into battle with them. It was the parish. And every time they went over the top, Geoffrey was with them. He prayed with them. He helped them stay strong, and he handed out Woodbine cigarettes. In the dark, they crawled through trenches and inched forward toward the enemy. I whispered some inane remark as I passed by," Geoffrey said, and was rewarded with a grin which even the darkness could not hide. And often a soldier muttered, "God blimey me if it ain't the Padre." Vaguely, I felt that this journey was worthwhile. One day, a soldier named Mayferry dragged himself off the line. He was low on morale, and here came the chaplain. Oh, brother. Weary of the silly little parochial god, Mayferry got ready for the blasted chaplain. Guys like him carried around religion like pretty pink pills right in the middle of this hellish war. But the chaplain introduced himself as Woodbine Willie, as most of the guys called him, and Mayferry was stumped. Soon he realized Geoffrey was for real and believed what he said. When the troops were discussing plans for the following day, a risky offensive on the front line, Geoffrey came in and told them, "I am going over the top with you boys," he announced jovially. The soldiers said he didn't have to do that. Mayferry and a few others said he shouldn't do that. "I dare not ask you men to face what I would not," he said. Recognizing the fear that accompanied such danger, he added, "And I know you would like me to be beside you." The following day, alongside the troops, including Mayferry, Geoffrey rushed into battle. The men fought fiercely, and many were killed or wounded. Geoffrey stooped and spoke to the men, prayed with them, and of course, offered them cigarettes. Seeing Geoffrey's resolve, Mayferry's heart was further opened to anything that man had to say. Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. 1 John 3, verse 18. What is one practical way or one unconventional way you might serve someone today, and in doing so, show the love of God? God can turn every act of service you do into a kingdom win.
Hello, I'm Michael Borner with Mission 17, and today's story of Geoffrey Kennedy is another one of those extraordinary examples of someone walking out self-sacrifice. It's amazing to me that this pastor, who is leading a church there in England right when World War I is beginning, decides to ask someone else to come in and fill his pulpit so he can go volunteer and be in harm's way with the people going into the Great War. And not only did he join them, but he also had an approach that was highly engaging. He didn't go passively into that environment. He made up poems, he engaged the people with fun stories and got on soapboxes and gave them cigarettes, which I think their relationship to cigarettes is a little bit different back then. But what's also incredible is he was willing to go out into battle. They talked about going over the top, which is a World War I reference to the trench warfare that was common back then, where they actually go out of that place where there are large trenches of safety and put themselves in the face of enemy lines. He was willing to do that for the men he loved and was serving. So I would challenge us to consider, our words are one thing, our actions are another, and God bless men like Geoffrey Kennedy who walked that out, and we're still talking about his life today. God bless you.
Today's podcast is sponsored by lighthousepowerbusiness.com. Get your free strategy session valued at $1,000. Get expert advice and take your business to the next level. Visit lighthousepowerbusiness.com to schedule your session today.